Think it over. Equality and prejudice. Do we have it backwards? Are we all equal? The argument for equality in religious practice and the resulting perception that one has a right to practice the religion of his or her choice is very strong. On the other hand, so is the argument for the need to maintain culture, religion, ethnic identity. So, would we be prejudiced? Is it possible that we have been analyzing these issues from the wrong perspective? Leaving our own community issues aside for a moment, let's look at the example of other nations like America and Canada, for instance. Both countries promote equality and both work fearlessly at eradicating prejudice. However, their methods, or rather their ideologies about how to attain that prejudice free society, are completely opposite. Let's begin with America. Being American is being part of a melting pot society, a society where everyone merges to ultimately become homogenous in ethnicity and culture. This coincides with the ideology of many members of our own society, especially those that consider themselves to be liberals or reformists. The melting pot approach to equality is simple in that it slowly eliminates diversity. The society becomes homogenous. Canada, on the other hand, does not promote a melting pot society. Canada promotes multiculturalism, a completely different philosophy to produce the desired result of equality and a prejudice free society. This coincides with the ideology of other segments of our own community, especially those who consider themselves to be traditionalists. But do these two differing ideologies produce the same result? Which society is most free of prejudice? Is it the melting pot, homogeneous society, or the multicultural, multi ethnic, multi religious society? It is difficult to say. It's loaded with complex issues. It has become the focal issue of our own community. We all have experienced these issues in our lives, and our experience will determine our outlook. So, allow me to share with you a few of my own experiences because these experiences have led me to wonder if we have the notions of equality and prejudice upside down and inside out. Think it over and decide for yourself. Several decades ago, an American vacationer of German ethnicity, kind and gentle soul, would come each day for his morning newspaper and coffee. We'd chat a bit about the daily news and then go about our own business. One day, something in the paper prompted him to say, "Look at this. It says prejudice is still alive in the US, but there is no such thing anymore. We have a black person who works in our office, and no one will ever refer to the color of his skin or make any other comment that may refer to his race. We treat him like he was just like us." So I leaned over the counter and in a very soft voice I whispered, "Harry, that's prejudice." Of course, he was horrified. "What did I mean?" he inquired. He pointed out once again that his coworker was never made to feel that he was black. "Harry," I said, "look at my skin. I'm brown. I don't want you to pretend that I'm not. I'm proud of my identity, my culture, my heritage. I want to be acknowledged for who I am. I don't want you to pretend that I'm white." Harry was in shock. He said he'd have to think about that for a while. So, seeing that he did not understand my perspective, I thought it best to turn the tables on him. I suggested that if he was vacationing in India, surrounded by a sea of Indians who also let him feel that he was just like them, did not acknowledge his race or his ethnicity, how would he feel? What would he do if, while sitting in a restaurant, he suddenly noticed another German American couple? He agreed. that he would most certainly like to go and meet them. At that time, he too would like to be recognized for his own ethnicity and culture. That most likely he would be happy that someone recognized that he was, in fact, not of Indian origin and ethnicity. Here we can see the basic difference in attitude created by a melting pot society versus a multicultural society. One, the first one, eliminates diversity while the other is happy to preserve and promote diversity. One creates an illusion of being identical and hence equal, whereas the other promotes and even cherishes or even celebrates diversity while still promoting equality towards all humanity, not, not just to those who are willing to assimilate indistinguishably into society. In another example that relates to our own community, many, many decades ago, I was sitting in the audience of one of our early North American Zoroastrian congresses. Many key speakers were there, including Kojesti Mistry, Professor Hinnells, etc. And at some point, one of the North American representatives made an announcement. He declared that he was very proud to be part of a community that has led the way to the future by performing the Naujot ceremony of an adopted child of a non Parsi origin. The audience displayed its pleasure with claps, cheers, whistles, but as a child myself, I put myself in the adopted child's position. I felt a sadness come over me. I thought how unfortunate it was for that child to have his or her identity robbed at such a tender age. I thought if something should have happened to my parents, I would most certainly not want to lose everything, my identity, my prophet, whom I had grown to love and pray to every day, one with whom I felt I had a connection. How bad if it were all to be stolen from me. It was my birthright, I thought. And in that very same audience, there was a young couple with their family. The couple was known for their extremely orthodox views. And surely you can understand that most people in this audience could not see eye to eye with this couple. They felt that this couple's ideology to preserve our identity, our ethnicity, and our religion was, well, to say the least, prejudicial. Some would even go to the extreme of calling them bigots and racists. My, we Parsis are a small lot. We all know each other, or at least know of each other. Most people knew that this young family of six had an adopted child too. Yes, a non Parsi child. They loved him like their own. The child grew up with brothers and sisters that loved him like their own. But this so called prejudiced couple never had an Aujat perform for their adopted child. No, they taught him his own religion, his own culture. He was raised in a family that all stood and prayed together. He prayed his prayers, and his brothers and sisters prayed theirs. When I looked around the audience of equality proclaimers, I could not find one single family who could match such a noble and ethical stand. This family didn't just talk the talk, they lived it. To this family, loving this adopted child meant gifting him with his identity, not robbing him of it. It meant ensuring that this child had equal love, equal treatment, equal opportunity, and was an equal member of the family and the society without dishonoring or masking the truth. The truth. The path of truth is rarely easy. It's certainly not the path of convenience. It's a long and difficult journey. Sometimes, like in the case of this young couple, standing up for the truth means standing alone. But it shouldn't matter if we are soldiers for the truth. I feel very honored and blessed to have known this beautiful, noble couple as my parents. May their souls continue to advance and reach liberation. bringing or sneaking our non-Parsi, non-Zartusti loved ones into Agyaris and Jushans, performing naujots and wedding ceremonies, gathering support and sympathy of friends and family, fighting battles in the press or in the court, does not change the truths and nature. But working hard to find the right solution, the right life adjustments, in a way that it does not deny the truth, is probably the better thing for all involved. See, equality is not gained by being able to choose which ethnicity, culture, or religion you wish to belong to. Rather, equality comes from recognizing and pursuing our common divine purpose amidst our diversity. Equality comes from the acknowledgement of diversity. Equality comes from a loving promotion of each community's need to maintain and practice its own identity. Equality comes from allowing each individual to protect, preserve, and practice his or her birthright, which is his or her religion. The battle of good over evil, truth over lie, is not just out there. It's the ones inside us that we have to win first. What society considers to be equality or prejudice may actually be completely the opposite. I'll leave it to you. And also, I'll leave you with a quote from Shakespeare: To thine own self be true, and it must follow. As the night, the day, thou canst not be false to any man. Think it over. This is Havobitara.